When the grass stops growing, a dairy farmer's real bill arrives. For the next several months, every single mouthful their cows eat has to come out of storage and out of pocket. For a dairy cow, summer is easy. She walks out to a green pasture and eats for free all day long. But grass doesn't grow in the cold. So for the 4, 5, or 6 months of winter, depending on the climate, that free buffet simply disappears. The cows still have to eat and eat enormously every day. And now, every bite has to be food the farmer grew, harvested, and stored months earlier or bought in with cash. Winter is when the true cost of keeping a dairy herd stops hiding and lands squarely on the farmer. And dairy cows are not small eaters. A high-producing dairy cow eats around 50 pounds of dry feed every single day. But because a lot of that feed is silage and other moist ingredients that are mostly water by weight, the 100 pounds a day. That's a cow eating roughly her own bathtub of feed over and over just to keep producing milk. Multiply that by a herd of 100 cows, and you're moving something like 5 tons of feed into those animals every single day of winter without a break. This winter feed isn't just a pile of hay. Modern dairy cows are fed something called a total mixed ration, or TMR. It's a carefully balanced recipe, blended in a giant mixing wagon of corn silage, hay or grass silage, ground grain, protein sources, and a precise dose of minerals and vitamins. The whole point is that every mouthful is identical and nutritionally complete, so the cow can't pick out just the tasty bits and leave the rest. Getting that recipe right is the difference between a cow that milks well and stays healthy and one that doesn't. It's less like tossing out feed and more like running a kitchen for a very demanding, very hungry crowd that never leaves. So what does all this actually cost? On a typical commercial dairy, feeding a single milking cow runs somewhere between about $5.50 and $8.50 per day. That might not sound like much for one animal, but run the numbers on a real herd. 100 cows at, say, $7 a day is $700 a day just on feed. That's around $20,000 a month, and over a 5-month winter it climbs past $100,000 for one herd, before the farmer has paid for fuel, electricity, labor, vet bills, or the loan on the barn. This is why on a dairy farm, feed isn't just one expense among many. It is the expense. Feed typically eats up around half of the entire cost of producing milk. Half, no other single item comes close. It means a dairy farmer's success or failure is tied, more than anything, to 2 things they can only partly control: how much their feed costs and how efficiently their cows turn that feed into milk. A few cents saved or wasted per pound of feed, multiplied across a whole herd across a whole winter, is the difference between profit and loss. And here's what makes it genuinely nerve-wracking. The cost of that feed is not fixed. It swings with the wider world. A drought hundreds of miles away that shrivels the corn crop, a jump in global grain prices, a wet summer that ruins the hay, any of these can send feed costs climbing sharply, right in the middle of a winter the farmer has already committed to. And the cruel part is that the dairy farmer usually can't just raise their prices to cover it. The price of milk is set far away, by huge processors and global markets, not by the person actually feeding the cows. So when feed gets more expensive, that extra cost often comes straight out of the farmer's own margin. Rising costs, fixed income. It's a squeeze that can turn a profitable winter into a losing one with almost no warning. When feed is half your entire budget, waste becomes the enemy. And there are a surprising number of ways to lose feed. Silage stored in a giant pile can spoil at the exposed face if it isn't managed carefully, rotting before it ever reaches a cow. At the feed bunk, cows will sort through their ration, nosing aside the bits they don't like and refusing to clean it up. Feed gets pushed out of reach and trampled. Every pound of that is feed the farmer already paid to grow or buy, and that a cow never actually ate. Good dairy farmers become almost obsessive about it, aiming to keep refusals down to just 1 or 2%. Because on a 100-cow herd, even small daily losses add up to real money over a long winter. Which brings us back to summer, and why those warm months are so frantic on a dairy farm. All that furious activity you see, the mowing, the chopping, the endless trucks hauling silage into towering piles and packing it down, that isn't really about summer at all. It's about winter. The farmer is banking food. Every acre of corn chopped into silage and sealed under plastic, every field of grass cut and stored, is a deposit against the months when nothing grows. A dairy farm in July is really just preparing, at enormous effort, to feed itself in January. And unlike almost any other business, a dairy farm can never pause to cut costs. A factory can slow its line in a downturn. A shop can close early, but a dairy cow must be fed fully every day, whether milk is selling high or selling at a loss. She'll get sick if she isn't, and she'll stop giving milk, which is the entire point. That relentless, non-negotiable daily cost, arriving every morning through the coldest, darkest part of the year, is one of the quiet, grinding pressures that shapes the life of every dairy farmer on Earth. So the next glass of milk you pour got there through a whole hidden winter of stored feed and daily costs. Follow along for more of the real economics behind your food.